Welcome to the Healthy Christian Podcast. This podcast is dedicated to empowering Christians to live a fulfilled life by integrating biblical principles with practical steps. Whether you're seeking to deepen your faith, enhance your physical health, or improve your overall well-being, you're in the right place. Let's get started. Welcome to Season 1, Episode 4, where we're going to be talking about patience today. I know what you're thinking. This is a tough subject. I don't want to talk about patience because then God's going to test me in order for me to be a patience person. That is not the case. I want to dive in with you today to talk about God's desire and plan for patience in our life and what it really means. Let's kick it off with reminding us about the fruit of the Spirit in Galatians 5:22 through 23 says, "But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Against such, there is no law." We're going to be talking about today how to experience patience. Not just know about it, but really and truly experience patience in your life. In order to experience patience, we need to understand what it is. The word here refers to an endurance to the end. Someone who stays on the path with God and does not give up. Somebody who is patient is someone that's going to endure to the end and not give up. When we think about being patient with other people, is we're going to endure, embrace, even have a little extra love for some people in order to keep a relationship to the end. So the whole reason I'm going to be patient with someone is because I value them and I value the relationship. And that is super important to understand when we talk about patience with people is the goal is the relationship. The goal is to continue to walk in love with them, to show them love and to be loved back. I want people to love me and I want people to show me patience. I want to be able to give patience in order for this relationship to continue, for it to continue on to the end. This is why I want God to be patient with me. I want to continue to have a relationship with God. I want God to constantly renew my mind and help me and be patient with me. So when we think about this word patience, we really got to think about and dwell on this word endurance. To endure something so we can finish well, finish the race, achieve the goal. Any kind of athlete is going to have to endure practice and training and development. They're going to have patience with the training and development in order to discipline their body to be a better athlete. If they don't have patience, if they want to hurry up, many people know that very rarely when you hurry up in your development process, do you achieve your best. Very rarely. It takes time, it takes development, it takes training, and it takes discipline. This is what we're talking about when we talk about patience, is this discipline of trusting in God's ways of loving people and helping them. And this is something that we are going to have to exercise, is we have to exercise patience, and not in a grudging way. Not in like, oh, I guess I'm going to be patient with them or I'm going to show them grace. No, this is something that we need to think about like an athlete does. An athlete endures the training in order to receive the prize. So we endure, in a way, patience so we can achieve the prize that God has for us. This is kind of opposite in the way a lot of people look at patience. So many people, from my experience, has viewed patience as a negative thing. Got to do this. Or it's impossible for me to have patience. A lot of people tell me I'm just not a patient person. Well, no, you can be a patient person. Why? Because this is a fruit of God's presence. God is patient with us as we grow and mature and develop because God wants a relationship with us to the very end. So when we know that patience is something that the goal is to endure it, then we can begin to understand the whole concept and principle of patience. So patience is something that we're going to have to practice, but it's also something that Jesus models for us. Listen to what 1 Timothy 1:16 says, "But I received mercy for this reason, that in me Jesus Christ might display his perfect patience as an example to those who were to believe in him for eternal life." So if you know the story of Jesus, crucified, betrayed, beaten, put down to the lowest point, but yet him knowing that him enduring that suffering, him enduring that test was going to win. He was going to overcome death. He was going to give us a deeper way to have a relationship with him forever. Aren't you so thankful that Jesus demonstrated patience in order to finish the call that God had for him? He exercised patience, even though it was difficult. Yes, there may be times in your life where to show patience may seem difficult, but I want you to view patience in two new lights. One, that it is a strength. So we need to understand that the fruit of God's presence is not negative, that it's a strength. So you can have patience in a positive and strength upbuilding way. And it's also something that is proactive. So you can have patience in a very proactive way. And a lot of people will tell me, oh, well, I've got to have patience. I'm waiting on God. I'm waiting on God to do this or do that. And it seems very reactive, like, oh, when God shows up, then everything's going to happen. But I believe that when we begin to demonstrate patience, when we begin to practice patience, that we begin to see God move obstacles out of the way because we're focused on the discipline of patience. Just like an athlete is focused on the discipline of training and development. And then all of a sudden they begin to see this progress. They begin to see them run faster, jump higher. Patience is kind of the same way. When we're focused on the discipline of patience itself, we begin to see that God moves the things out of the way that we thought we needed to be removed out of the way. But in time, God is developing our character, developing who we are, and showing us that we don't really need problems removed from our life in order to have patience. We can have patience in order to endure to the very end, to finish strong with our relationship with God. And I also want to share this with you, is a lot of times we view patience on a timeline. When we think of patience, we think this is something to do with time. Well, I'm not patient because this isn't happening on this timeline, or it's not happened yet. So many people will tell me that. We've got to get outside of time because God is outside of time. You could spend years trying to do something, and in one moment, in one phone call, God could change your life. You could have one door open for you, meet the right person in one moment that could change your life. So we've really got to get outside of this time constriction that we've kind of built in our world where everything revolves around like linear time. This limits our thinking because God is outside of time. He's not limited by our time and the structure that we have created. When you begin to understand that, it's easier to exercise patience because you're not worried about, oh, it hasn't happened yet. No, you're more focused on the discipline of patience. You're more focused on the practical side of patience and walking it out with God and trusting him that he has the perfect timing, knowing that God's going to give us good gifts. So if something hasn't happened in your life, we don't have to worry about, oh, I'm missing the mark or I'm missing out. As long as you are pressing into God and trusting him and allowing him to lead and guide you, you have nothing to worry about. It's going to happen in its perfect timing. But as we practice this patience, as we practice the discipline of making steps, of trusting God, then we begin to see that patience will bring us peace and joy, and it's connected to all the other fruit of the Spirit. So many times I see people with no joy or no peace because they're not exercising patience. They're all connected and working as one together. So let's talk about some practical things that you can do to have patience. And as always, I love for you to get around other people with patience because this is so important. You learn so much around other people. Think about someone in your life that has patience. Or if you don't have anybody in your life who's a role model or someone that you look up to that you think that they have patience, what are their characteristics and qualities? What do they do? You actually find that people who have a lot of patience say no a lot, that they have a discipline of saying no to things so they can focus on the right things. But what are some characteristics and qualities of people in your life that already have patience? What is something you can do to be proactive around patience? Maybe you're waiting for an opportunity. Maybe you want a new job. Maybe you want to achieve certain results, or you have a goal in life that it hasn't happened yet. Here's what I want to encourage you to do. What is one small thing that you can be doing that's going to move you closer to those goals? What is one thing that you could do that you can demonstrate and practice what you are believing for? You know, a lot of times we say that we want something, but what are the steps that we're doing to get it? You see, when I make steps of faith, when I show God that, hey, God, I trust you to open the right doors at the right time, but I'm also doing my part. You see, I'm exercising patience when I'm actually doing the things that God's told me to do. And I know that I'm doing what I can do, and God will do what he can do. What are some practical things that you can do for that? And along this same line, if you feel like you don't have patience, I want you to think about this question very carefully. What is something you need to finish? Has God told you to do something? Has God put a vision or dream on your heart? Or is there something that you started doing, but it became difficult and you gave up? What is something you need to do and finish that you know God's called you to do? So maybe that you not having patience is coming from you not finishing and enduring in the thing that you already know that you should be doing. I really want to encourage you to press into these steps, because patience is something we actually have to be practicing and walking out. And when you do, you'll begin to see that God is moving in your life. When it becomes difficult, we trust God. We give it to him and say, God, I'm not feeling patient, but I trust you, and I trust your perfect timing and your ways. By giving our burdens and our worries to God, he comes in and gives us the strength we need to endure, which is connected to all the other fruit of the Spirit that we need to endure strong to the end. And I'm so thankful that Jesus has endured to the end so we can have a deep relationship with him. And know, as you continue to press in to God, you're going to see this fruit in your life. Hope you find this encouraging, and I look forward to many more conversations in the future. Thank you for tuning in to the Healthy Christian Podcast. Now it's your turn to put these principles we've discussed into action. We'd love to hear how they've impacted you. Please rate, review, and share the podcast with others. Join us on social media to continue the conversation and share your insights. Until next time, stay healthy.